to Feathers and Fur. So I thought I would make this video with Gimli in the background, our beautiful snowy owl, and today is International Falconry Day. So I thought this was quite a good little post. I've been thinking about making a video like this for a while, and it's a little bit of a rant really, a little bit of a passion thing. Quite oddly, I had a phone call today from a gentleman about it along the subject, and the subject is that people want to get a bird of prey. So obviously we meet a lot of people every day that tell us, oh yeah, I'd love to get a bird. And I'm not just talking about the hunting side of it as well, I'm talking about the owls. You know, loads of people went out and bought snowy owls after Harry Potter, mostly because most people thought they delivered the post. But you know, there's no licensing on getting these birds. You can literally go out and buy it, and it breaks my heart, but it is difficult to say why you can buy a rabbit and keep it in a 2-foot hutch. You know, yeah, you'd have to have a license to buy one of these guys. So my video is mostly about just a few points that I think need to be addressed within people keeping birds of prey, or not necessarily need to be addressed, but if you're thinking about getting a bird, these are things that I think you should think about before you get a bird. So before you go down the whole kind of route of training, there should just be bits in the back of your head. So there's 5 of them, so bear with me for a little minute, and I should try and do this all in one long take. If I fail, you'll know, because I'll be jumping around all over the screen. So first of all, number 1 is that you have to have a reason why you want a bird of prey. They're not great pets. They're trusting and they're sweet, but she's not running to me, jumping on me, going, oh, I miss you, Mum, like my dog does when I've been in the toilet for a couple of minutes. An owl is definitely independent, would be a good word to do it. They love you when they want food and in springtime, but they don't want to cuddle, they don't want to come and snuggle on the sofa. They do have to live outside, so when it's cold over winter, you've got to drag your butt outside and look after them and clean them out and make sure everything's all right. You have to make sacrifices, you probably can't go away for a month-long holiday. It's a big commitment to these guys. The hawks, I meet a lot of people that want to get a Harris hawk or a buzzard or a goshawk. Those guys are very specific birds. They like to hunt. If you want to get a Harris hawk but don't want to kill anything, you're barking up the wrong tree. Even Echo, so I don't hunt technically anymore, I don't go out hunting, but the last hawk walk we went on, Echo caught and killed a pheasant, and I had to dispatch it and I had to manage the situation. I'm all right with that, but I do meet some people that say that they don't ever want to kill anything with their hawk. Well, that's just not going to happen. So the why do you want the bird, really has to be one of the first things that you think about. I think, why do you want this pet bird? If it's just to be cute and cuddly and it's a whim, you're only doing the bird a disfavour, not you. Okay, number two is safety. One of the biggest things that sort of comes up a lot, so we use a company called the Independent Bird Register, and it's a registration. They give us a ring that goes around the bird's leg, and if the bird gets lost, the ring has a telephone number and a special individual ID on it. But if the bird gets lost, if someone finds that bird, within a matter of minutes, it can be connected back to the owner can be called, all that worry and that terribleness of losing your bird, it's just gone. You don't have that. And so many people don't register their bird. So there is no way to get that bird back to you if it's lost. Aria is one of the biggest cases. She took me sort of 4 or 5 days to track a breeder, then the breeder tracked the owner. Within minutes that could have been fixed, but it wasn't. It took me 4 or 5 days to sort it out. So yeah, IBR, safety for that one, registering your bird. There's a few points in this one. One of the second things that I think of in the safety terms is that the IBR posts a list of birds that have been lost and how they've been lost. So obviously when you're flying a bird, there's always inevitably it's going to go off and do something. But it's the stuff that happens in the garden that always panics me or that worries me. Lots of people lose their birds when they're tethered down in their garden, which is not unusual. You go to falconry centres and you see the birds all lined up in a row and they're all tethered beautifully. But accidents happen and things happen and, stuff you can't control. So recently, it's not probably a couple of years ago now, the time passes so fast. I went to visit a guy who had a beautiful Seika falcon and it was tethered in his garden and it was a lovely, beautiful bird and he loved this bird. but it had nothing around it, and he would leave it in the garden for hours. It's called weathering, when you leave your bird out and you're weathering it. And I said to him, you need something around that bird. You need to put something over that bird to make sure that if it gets off the perch, it can't go anywhere. And within 3 weeks, nothing to do on the bird, but the ring on the block broke and he lost his bird. A couple of months later, the carcass of the bird was found. It had its legs tied together with its jesses and it was still trailing the leash. That was so avoidable by putting something around it, building a structure that's netted so that the bird still gets the elements, still gets the rain, but doesn't get out if it gets off that block. Not only getting off, but other things coming in. If you're leaving your bird unattended in your garden, who's to say the local cat's not going to come over, or a dog's going to come in, or in my case, we get sparrowhawks dive bombing our birds, and buzzards come in, kites in this area. You just have to be so careful. So having your bird in a netted area is definitely something you need to consider. Secondly is this thing here. You're probably wondering what this big box is. This is actually a double door system. So you come in the door at this end, you shut the door behind you, and then you come in this door. So when you have a bird molt, so it means you make it really fat and you put it up in an aviary, it doesn't want to do anything. It's completely almost wild in its head. And if you open your aviary door, there is a huge chance it's going to come out and past you. And I've had it. I've known a friend that's had it happen. He's lost his female Harris hawk. He's never got her back. She's currently living wild. Because there was no double door system, it's such an easy fix. So I really recommend that whenever you're thinking about getting an aviary, it doesn't matter what it's for, whether it's a little owl, a Harris hawk, a golden eagle, you should always have this really fantastic double door system. Point 3. Sorry, people are wandering behind. Point 3. Telemetry. Now this is one of my biggest points. I know a number of centres and a number of falconers that fly their birds without telemetry. Telemetry is the radio tracking system or GPS tracking system that you can use, not necessarily to get your bird back, because if it's sitting in a tree looking at you, it ain't coming down, but you know what tree to look in. I went to a centre and they don't fly any of their owls with telemetry. I've struggled to understand the mentality of that. Owls have got the best camouflage going. They're going to vanish in a tree. Recently an eagle went off, a Stella sea eagle. Really respected eagle falconer, doesn't fly any of his eagles with telemetry. And that's their personal choice. But I personally believe if you can ensure that 100% chance that you've tried and done everything you can to ensure that you're going to get your bird back, how can that be wrong? Every time I get in a car, I put a seatbelt on. Every time I cross a road, I look left and right. I've never had a crash and I've never been run over, but I will still do these safety things. Every time I fly a bird, it could be the most reliable bird in the world. I will still put a tracker on it just in case. Even 2 in Aria's case. I put a GPS and a radio tracker on. So telemetry, one of the issues with telemetry is it's expensive to buy. But before you get a bird, if you can't afford to buy telemetry, you need to really consider whether you should have a bird or not. You really need to think, because you need to have that in place. You need to have practice with it. The first time you use it, you don't want to be trying to track your bird down. It takes practice to learn. So before you even get to buying the bird, you need to have looked and bought telemetry, in my opinion. Point 4, people. People. You need people. You need anyone around you. Doing birds of prey, having birds of prey is not an easy task. And whether it be that you need help holding the bird, so you can, imagine trying to hold her and put equipment on her. You need 2 people. You need someone to wrap around, someone to put the equipment on. Coping the bills, filing down the bills, putting equipment on, managing the talents. You need people to help you. So if you're looking at getting a bird, do you have a centre around you that can help you with this? Or do you have a falconer, or do you have a club locally that can help you with this? You need that. You'll have to have that. People as in your family. A lot of people that I've met that want to get birds of prey is their passion, their hobby. It's like me. This is my passion, my hobby. But my other half understands why we have baby birds at home. You've probably seen a couple of posts where we've had the birds in the house. Baby birds live in the house. If your wife is totally crazy about her carpets, she ain't going to let you have a bird in the house while you're sat there. You're going to be in the man shed out the back. You can't have that with an owl. It has to be around you. When your bird has gone off and sat in a tree, my other half's come and bought me soup in a flask because I've been sat under the tree because I don't want to leave him. I want to stay here. He sat up just, for a couple of hours. There's my soup. Sorry, hun, I've had to cancel this. I can't do this. My bird's sitting in a tree. People have to understand this. The passion has to be yours, but it has to be everybody else's kind of thing as well. They have to support you. And point 5, and this is probably the biggest one that I really kind of feel for. It's a commitment. This bird can live for 30 to 40 years. My Harris hawk is 26 years old. It's not just, I work on I work 6 days a week, I go on a fly at the weekend. Birds don't live like that. They need 100% commitment. I'm not saying you have to be with your bird 24/7 all the time, but you can't just go on a month holiday to France and leave your bird alone. You can't just fly it when you've got a chance to or work it. You're never going to get the best out of it. It should be almost akin to having a child, really. That commitment that you're making, the longevity of it. Well, most people get their kids out of the house by the time they're 18. Well, she could be here for 30 years, every day, feeding her, flying her, making sure she's all right, making sure she's got fresh water, making sure her aviary is fine. These are things that I have to think about. The Christmas, everyone's talking about Christmas at the moment, Christmas holidays. It was like, what are you doing for Christmas? Are you going to visit your mum and dad? So my parents live in France. I can't go. I'm here. I'm looking after these guys. I'm looking after my animals. I can't up and take them to France with me. that would be a very peculiar ferry ride. But the commitment, that life that I've chosen, the life, even if you've got one bird, the life that you choose when you have a bird is very, very specific. So can you do that? Can you commit that? I do meet a lot of people that do hunting, and they go through birds quite often. They'll talk about having 20 Harris hawks, or they've flown all this, they've flown all that. A bird can live for a huge length of time. How did you get through 20 Harris hawks in your working career with birds? Making a commitment to an individual person, individual bird, are you just going to have a go for a season and then move it on? How can that be good for the bird? It's a commitment. In my opinion, it's a proper choice, a life commitment when you take on a bird of prey. So those are my 5 passionate things that I get on my soapbox. I should probably get off my soapbox now, shouldn't I? I get on my soapbox about. Gimli has been very good and sat listening to us. She's very beautiful, isn't she? I should say thank you for listening. It is November, so hopefully you guys are enjoying some of the milder weather that we've got. Remember, Christmas is coming, so we do vouchers and things, so if you did want to come up and listen to me ranting a little bit, I'm really nice in person, I promise, then you're more than welcome to come up and do a session. We're having an open day at the centre on the 2nd of December, which is great for kids. It's storybook owls, and basically it's an excuse for me to get dressed up as Harry Potter and vicariously live my Harry Potter obsession. It's quite a snary owl. But there'll be owl babies and owl that's afraid of the dark and all things, Winnie the Pooh, anything that's got an owl in it in a book, I'm going to be happy and enjoying and loving. So that's on the 2nd of December, and it's free. You can bring your kids along, so that's not a problem. And hopefully you have a lovely rest of the day. So I'm going to go hopefully load this video online, and I shall see you again real soon. Take care. Bye.